Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 26th day of June, NBA draft night. Atlanta Hawks are on the clock here, I want to say. Just want to thank everybody for coming on the program tonight. Got a great show with you for tonight. Going to talk about Knicks making a huge trade here. By the way, Mad New Yorker will be on the program tomorrow at this time. He'll be on tomorrow. Probably use Friday as an editing day, folks. I've been busy taking some extra shifts there at work here. It's all for the greater good of this program. May talk about that a little bit later. Indiana Fever just got a great idea. I really think the Fever should go after Gino Auriemma, and I'll explain why, to Coach Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, which they could really be on to something here. Explain that a little bit later. The Giants, will be starting Hard Knocks early this year. I'll talk a little bit about that. Can't wait to see that. Connor McDavid, another man, this guy talent. Now, don't really talk a lot of hockey in this program, but man, winning the MVP here in the NHL Finals, but it was on the losing team. Brett Venables got an extension, and for what? I'll give you my opinion on that here in just a little bit. Let's take our first and only break. I'll be back here in 49 seconds. We'll hit the ground running here on Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then, now I'm back here live. Okay. The Knicks, the New York Knicks, I knew they were going to do something big this particular offseason. I will say this, traded a lot here. Big trade here. Went on and got Mikal Bridges here. From the Brooklyn Nets here. This is from ESPN on the eve of the draft last night. The Knicks and Nets made their first trade with each other since 1983. They're in the same, Eastern Conference there division. The Knicks agreed in principle to acquire Mikal Bridges from Brooklyn for Bojan Bogdanovic, 5 first-round picks. One will be this year. They still have their 25th, by the way. First-round picks swap in the second round. Sources say Adrian Wojciechowski, Brooklyn will receive unprotected picks from New York in 25, 27, 29, and 31, along with unprotected pick swap in 2028. Brooklyn would also receive a top 4 protected 2025 first-round pick from the Milwaukee Bucks in 25 and a second rounder. So they've got a boatload of picks. Looks like they're going to totally rebuild here. I mean, they took a chance and went with all those older players twice already. If you don't recall, remember they had Paul Pierce there, Kevin Garnett, and I knew that was a bad trade and a great deal there for excuse me, folks. I didn't realize how far away my mic was. Sound like Mike Francesa. Who turned my mic off? That's a sound the former New York great radio host there, Mike Frank. Be off a few days, and I'm a little rusty there, folks. Okay, now, what does this mean? Okay, also the Knicks today, folks, they signed OG Anunoby. There were some rumors he wanted more money. The Knicks wouldn't want to come up to that number. Well, they closed that gap. And according also to Adrian Wojciechowski, they've got the 5-year extension, $225 million deal done on the player. Also under 30. Also under 30 years old. Okay. And that is something good. I did screenshot that to let everybody know. Someone put this out here. Nick Muse on the X app here. They do have a young and energetic team. We know that Thibodeau likes to go into the bench here, likes to play the guys wide open in their style of play. Got a lot of Villanova guys per se. Jalen Brunson's 27. Mikal Bridges also 27. That is prime. That is prime for a player to be. That's usually when that's championship years here. Brunson's 27. Bridges, who they acquired yesterday, 27. OG Anunoby is only 26 years old. Only 26 years old. Randall's 29. I'll come back to him in a minute. Mitchell Roberts is 26. Now, Hartenstein, they're expected to lose him. Everything I'm reading. The center there is also 26. Deuce McBride's 23. Vis Vincenzo's 27. And Josh Hart's 29. So everybody's under 30. Okay. Now, I said they need wings. They went out and got a wing. You know, and I'm not talking about any kind of chicken, even though I had some chicken the other day. It was great. So you've got Randall, okay? You still got that 25th pick tonight, and I know this draft is either going on now. They may have a pick done. I don't know. I'm not keeping up with it. Who knows? I mean, I know the guy from Kentucky, and there's a guy from France that's probably going to go number 1 to Atlanta. Anywho, the Knicks have this 25th overall pick. Randall, they owe Randall $28 million on his cap hit. Now, Anthony Davis, who is 31 now, is rumored not to be happy in L.A. How could you be happy in L.A. with LeBron going out handpicking his guy that he done the he does the podcast with, and 39-year-old J.J. Redick's the head coach now, dropping F-bombs in his opening press conference. Yeah, that's real professional there. Anywho, what if you move a pick, you find a way, I know the salaries have to match, to get that $12 million up through another team or another bench player and go after AD. They need that size. AD has played, 74 games last year. The last 2 years, Anthony Davis has essentially, Darvin Ham got it out of him. If Ham could get it out of him, I know a Tom Thibodeau can get it out of him. Okay, I know that a Tom Thibodeau could get out of him. I think if you're thinking conference finals, be satisfied with the team you've got. If you're thinking NBA championship, first time since 72, if I'm not mistaken, under Phil Jackson, we're talking almost 50 years. Go after Anthony Davis. Go after Anthony Davis. It's worth the risk, you know. And I know that his past and whatnot, I get it. And they still may be able to come off with something. I love Bridges, by the way. But wouldn't it be interesting to go out and maybe they'll try something at the trade deadline come February. Maybe they'll try something like that. I'll be arguing with Mad New Yorker about this tomorrow on the program. He'll be on Thursday this week. Okay. So the Knicks essentially, and this other thing, what is the chances of the Knicks being able to have Brunson played under Jay Wright in 2016? Jalen Brunson, and I think I've got a quote here. Jalen, by the way, Jay Wright is like 63. I mean, that's another argument. Okay, so you got Brunson, you got Bridges, all right, you got Josh Hart, you got DiFincenzo. What's the chances of that many players from one team all playing on the same team? Mind you, Bridges was often the lead scorer for the Nets. They averaged 19 a game last year. Brunson was an MVP candidate last year at one point. And then you got Josh Hart playing over his head, DiFincenzo. Talk about team chemistry at its absolute best. But let me ask you this. What if they make no other moves? Okay. What if they make absolutely no other moves? And this time next year, we're talking about the Knicks who are injured again. Come playoff time, they fall apart again. They win one round, and Boston surpasses them. Indiana, who has Siakam on their team, made some great moves, and they pass them again. What do you say? I like Tom Thibodeau, but is he just a stepping stone type of coach? Is he the Mark Jackson of this team? Who's Mark Jackson, the former Knicks player, the Golden State Warrior former head coach that got the Warriors to buy in the defense and play more physical under Draymond, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry? Is that Tom Thibodeau? Is he just the guy who changes the culture, okay, but can't quite get you over the hump, you know? Is he that guy? That's something to think about. And my guess is it would be hard. I'm going to talk about an Oklahoma story. I feel like they simply extended Venables out of fear. I don't know. I don't know. But there seems to be a shortage of coaches in major college sports right now because of NIL, okay, and transfer portal stuff. So I don't think Jay Wright can be talked into going back to the Villanova team. But I have a bite here, if I can find it, from Jay Wright. And I wanted to Jay Wright on his process when he started the first 3 years of his career. Jay Wright on creating his culture. Remember, he built this team, won 2 national championships together. What's the chances, Pickles? What's the chances of, say, the Fab Five? Okay. Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, that group there, they was the 2 best players. Was it Juwan Howard? What's the chances of those 3 guys playing on the same team and actually being successful at a high level? This is unbelievable. See if I can play this bite. Here's Jay Wright. Here's Jay Wright talking about this team and talking about his first few years at Villanova.
Your mind, what will be the most dominant question? Going with Hofstra, the first 3 years, you were below 500 seasons. If you could see a transcript of your mind, what would be the most dominant question you were asking yourself during that time frame?
I wasn't questioning. I was so focused on the goal of creating our culture. I don't even know if I used that word back then, but I knew I wanted to create a feeling in our guys of accomplishment when they played hard and they played together, whether they won or lost the game. That's what I was trying to do. And I was trying to get people around us to appreciate that, fans and people at the school to appreciate that these kids are playing hard, they're playing together, they're unselfish, they're committed, and then just accept the results. I really did, even to the point where.
And that lasted throughout the rest of their college career. That's what he built at Villanova. That was starting the first 3 years of his career. This guy, people ask me, why do you wear suits? I was on a show the other day, Pickles, with a couple of weeks ago, Ralph Williams and a couple other guys. And Ralph's like, man, you got a suit on again? I said, every time that I come on the air, I've got the suit on. Every time. I dress for the job I want, not the job I got. Jay Wright is the Pat Riley of Villanova. Okay? Villanova's in Philadelphia. When I dressed up really nice, I had a nice suit on. My grandmother used to say, you look like a Philadelphia lawyer. And that's what Jay Wright, I said, man, this guy. And then later on, he went to the Final Four, lost it to a great Florida team. Of course, we know that wasn't exactly this group, but this group per se that he was talking about is got that Jay Wright handprints on them. Could Jay Wright be caroused into coming to the New York Knicks? Could you go ahead and bring Jay Wright in this time next year and give him a monster deal, $17 to $20 million? The owner here, I've been proud of him. He has stepped back. Now, some are saying because he's working on some project out in Vegas, but he has stepped back and let management and coaches do their thing. Remember, they've got Jalen Brunson's. It's a family affair, like some of my older listeners from Sly and the Family Stone. It's a family. They play. They're a poor man's Boston right now. Boston, we're one of my highest rated clips there, folks, on TikTok was talking with the Mad New Yorker about the team ball with Boston, about the team in Boston passing the ball around, having the Mavericks players chasing the ball like a cat chasing a laser pointer. Okay? That's this team. Now, I know sometimes Brunson can play hero ball, but we've all seen it. The people who've watched the Knicks games see DiFincenzo hit the big shot, see Josh Hart go in at 6'4" and get the rebound over Embiid. Or Josh Hart would get the big shot. I do think Randall it would be the piece I would try to move. I would love to get a Brandon Ingram. I would love to get an Anthony Davis. You need a big. The league's gone big. Minnesota's big. And I know that Boston won. They had really one big, and the other big was, hurt. And by the way, he's not even going to start the season now. Porzingis, right, Pickles? But at least he's got his ring, right? He's going to be. He's getting some kind of surgery. He's going to miss the start of the season next year at 7-3. Denver's big. Could you go after a Michael Porter? Could you go after a Karl Anthony Towns? They may have gave it up too much. I think that's what Carlos will say tomorrow. But if you're stuck with this group, and it's a good group, I said they need wings, and they re-signed OG and Anunoby, and they've got Bridges, but they still need that center. I think, Pickles. They still need that center. So if you can't make a move and you got to run it back with Randall, do you go after Jay Wright this time next year? And the answer to that is yes. Yeah. But don't come at him the way the Lakers came at Dan Hurley. Don't come at a guy and ask him to come to New York City for $12 million. Not in this economy. All right. Come at him with $18 to $20 million and say, let's see what we can do, coach. Let's do something special here. You've coached 4 of these players together. 2016, all these guys played together. What's the chances of that? And they're going to get heavy minutes. All these players are under 30 years old, including Mitchell Robinson. So it's going to be interesting to see if they stay healthy. Yeah, they're Eastern Conference Finals team, but that's if they stay healthy. And if they're not healthy come championship time, including Brunson, it's got to be on Thibs, because Brunson didn't get hurt in Dallas that I know of. I didn't see him get hurt. So it's an interesting story to follow. They're a fun team to follow. They're definitely not the most talented team to follow. You still got to put Boston and Denver ahead of them, at least. And plus, we still got free agent. We don't know what else is going to happen in the West. We don't know what Miami's going to do. And, of course, I know that Milwaukee's older. We don't know what they're going to do. Right now, it don't look good. But it was a good move. It was a good move. I like the move. Probably gave a little too much for Bridges. But we'll see. Hopefully they are not done in the Big Apple, in my opinion. Well, hopefully they're not done. I don't know if I don't know yet. So okay, something came up here about Trae Young. Not expected to fetch trade package. Yeah, go figure. All right. Houston, by the way, it just came up on my screen. Houston has selected Reed Shepherd, University of Kentucky sensation. Donnie Allison, my friend there, he's a big Kentucky fan. They've got Reed Shepherd here, going number 3, by the way. That just came across my screen. Rockets got a player. They got a sharpshooter. And there have been rumors that they want to get Kevin Durant, but a Booker, but the Phoenix Suns want to keep these guys. But the night is young, folks. The night is young. Okay. Where do I start now? Dun, 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 dun. I hate to go over this hockey story. I skip it, but I'm going to. Over the weekend, I tell you what, this Caitlin Clark thing with Indiana and this Angel Reese thing with the Chicago Sky. By the way, this Chicago team, this Camilla Cardiccio, she's the great big woman. She's not bad looking. I'm not being derogatory. But she is the rebounding machine that helped South Carolina go undefeated, by the way. Rebounding machine, Pickles. And her and Angel Reese are like David Robertson and Tim Duncan for that Chicago team. I'm surprised that Indiana was even in this game. But Caitlin Clark has been the story of she's really been the story in all sports. From March up until now, ratings wise and coverage wise. Caitlin Clark, get the bleep out of here. I was rewatching, by the way, Netflix. They got the old Beverly Hills Cop movie. I think they got another one coming out this summer. It's probably going to be terrible, but the third one was bad. I don't know why Eddie Murphy would do a number 4, but Eddie Murphy, and the first Beverly Hills Cop, he's talking to this guy, an art collecting guy or something, and he's selling some kind of stuff, and Eddie Murphy character's waiting to talk to this woman, and the guy's like, yeah, man, I sold that for $150,000, and Eddie Murphy's like, get the F out of here. No, I'm serious. This gay guy, real centric, it's funny, it's all get out. Oh man, I love Eddie Murphy. He's a great movie. Beverly Hills Cop, if you're ever bored, a lot whole lot of nothing going on, folks. The first Beverly Hills Cop, very old, dated movie, one of the funniest, great action-packed movie that Eddie Murphy's ever did. Okay. Anyways, so I'll say all that. Caitlin Clark's got a lot of airways. She's got a lot of sports talk time. She's trending. She's still trending. The women's finals was second only to the NBA or to the NFL ratings. This is what it is, right? So anyway, so I'm watching this game Saturday or Sunday, I think, 84-84, okay, against her nemesis Angel Reese, right? The chick from LSU, which she's been undefeated in the pros so far, and she won that last game, okay? She won the last game there. And why? And the last minute that I watch, 3 shots there. What's up, Ralph? 3 shots. 3 possessions. No shot by Caitlin Clark. No shot. And don't ask me why that Christy Sides, the head coach there of the Fever, and I know why, but I'm just being a little one of those rhetorical, right? Questions. Why didn't she get Caitlin? Why do you have the point guard taking the ball out? That didn't mention to you that they've got 2 twin towers there with the Chicago sky. So, and one of them was trying to block the inbound. She didn't take a shot. And I had some screenshots here. Looking back in the game, she didn't take a shot. Let me make sure I get this right. I don't want to assume anything, folks. But during the Fever's 88-87 loss to the Sky on Sunday, Clark took 2 shots in the final 7 minutes of the matchup during the Chicago Close Gap Sparks. Speaking to reporters June 5th, Sides addressed Clark not taking the ball in her own hands. She said, quote, I think sometimes she's being a little too unselfish, Sides says. At the same time, Sides applauded Clark's 13 assists against Chicago. It's a new single-out franchise record. If you're open, she's going to hit you, I think. I think she turns down some shots. I like to see her take some more shots when it comes off. She knows she has the green light. And, of course, the fans wasn't hearing it online. I wasn't hearing it because if you wanted her to take the shot, she don't need to be taking the ball out. And you say, why? Why is that? Well, it was on ESPN, ABC, ESPN are covering these games. And your Stephen A. Smiths of the world, your college basketball analysts of the world are hammering Clark. You know, we talked about the undertones there, the jealousy, the racial, and Stephen A. Smith, he said something about J.J. Redick the other day. Then he kind of walked it back, said something like, well, black coaches are calling me about Redick, and he needed – and, yeah, I'm thinking, which ones? The ones in your head? You know, a lot of that's going on. She's too afraid. The head coach, folks, she's too afraid to let Clark take too many shots of the criticism. She's a sharpshooter. She's the best player on the team. She's a sharpshooter, man. You know? And I thought, you need to get some – and listen, the same guy that owns the Indiana Pacers – let me make sure I got this right. The same guy that owns the Indiana Pacers owns this Fever women's team. I'm sure get his name down here. I got so much stuff here. Read something. Oh wait, Herb Simon. Herb Simon owns the Pacers. He can afford to make a big split. This could be, if they get another player in there to help out Clark, this could be a Larry Bird, Magic Johnson saving the NBA. In this case, really given life to the WNBA, has never turned a profit, been in the league, 96 or whatever, 98, 25 years, whatever, plus years. Never turned a profit. But since Clark's got there, she's gotten a lot of heat from the haters, but she's got a lot of I'm just watching, by the way, another good movie on Netflix. It's leaving soon. Amadeus, the Mozart story. 1984 classic movie about Mozart, and this guy was just so jealous of him because he was so great, and he looked like it was effortless to him. Great movie, Pickles. Funny movie. I thought that was Robert Downey Jr. or some other actor, but the guy who played Mozart was good. Kind of a whack job. But this other guy that worked for the king, this Italian guy, this older guy, he was a composer too, but Mozart was so young and so he was just so envious of him. It reminded me of the situation with Caitlin Clark, right? Go out and get a guy like Gino Auriemma, who's got 11. He's got nothing else to prove in women's college basketball. And he's had nothing but highest of the highest praise for Caitlin Clark. Go out and hire Auriemma. He's not afraid of what people think of him. He's always gotten criticism. Go out, fire this lady. She's scared to death of ESPN, of the race hustlers out there. She's scared. Gio Auriemma don't care. And he's got the credentials to back it up. Go out and hire him and get you a star player. And this Chicago Sky with Reese and Clark led by Indiana, this could be, and plus it's in the middle of the summer. We got the Olympics this year coming up, but they come back in September, August, September, and they're going to be playing basketball. Go out and hire him, a coach that don't give a flip and got the, So I'm calling for a former college coach to come to the NBA, and Jay Wright, and I'm calling for a current women's basketball coach, Gio Auriemma, to come for a new challenge, man. And I'll probably clip this and hope it'll go viral on the internet. Go out and get Gino Auriemma. Mr. Simon. Herb Simon. Mr. Simon. Simon says, go out and get a new coach. Go out and get another player for Caitlin Clark. Actually make some money off this charity case. Then it would be a charity case. It'd be a legitimate business, the WNBA. You can build a brand here. Actually build a brand. Actually turn a profit. They've got 2 years of, this is 1 year. They got 2 years of charter flights, private planes. Next year. But the next 5 to 7 years, with Auriemma there, another good draft, get a big, that would be fun. I'm watching it. I found myself watching it. I think because of the haters with ESPN and your Stephen A's race. Yeah, so Stephen A, you know how he saves face? He hugs up to these conservative talk show hosts so he doesn't get too much heat from guys like me. He'll hug up to Sean Hannity, and he'll hug up to Mark Levin. Then he'll turn around and say some kind of racial remark about J.J. Redick. And then there's rumors that he wants $25 million a year. They are offering him 18, which is $1 million more than Pat McAfee does. Pat McAfee does 1,000 jobs, but Stephen A works hard. But he likes to play up. He wants to race base and keep his haters on his supporters on social media, which is a bunch of haters anyways. Keep them happy, but he won't go too far, so he'll go to hang out with Sean Hannity and stuff. So he plays both sides so he can his divisiveness, so he can stay popular and keep everybody relevant. Yeah, if anybody should retire, it should be that guy. It shouldn't be Charles Barkley, because I think Barkley's authentic for the most part, 99%, and I think Stephen A is a hustler.
Yeah, I tell him, don't hit the door, hit you where the good Lord split you, Stephen A. Smith. That's what I would do about him. But, yeah, I'd go out and get Gino Auriemma, go get you another player. And, man, I'd be watching me some basketball in the summertime. I watch Big Three, and I'll watch the women's game, the WNBA that's now on people's radars now that Clark's there. But I think she'll have a good run after the Olympics. That was a blessing in disguise. She needs the rest. She's been under constant scrutiny, been run to death. She's been triple teamed. She's been hacked. I think it's fine. I think she's going to get a little bigger. She's going to get in the weight room, get a little thicker, and she's going to come back with a vengeance. And hopefully Herb Simon will go out and get a real coach here that's not afraid of the outside noise and then coach to win the game, like Herm Edwards said. And that's a good transition. That's a good transition. Okay. Kudos to, Florida Panthers. Kudos to the Florida Panthers not blowing an 0-3 lead. I think there was one other hockey team that did that. And we all know about the Boston Red Sox against the Yankees in 0-4, coming back 0-3. Edmonton Oilers. And I'm not even talking about, I don't talk hockey. You guys know I don't talk hockey. Yeah? But this guy, Connor McDavid, the great Jerry West died in the NBA last week. And he was he's the only one I ever heard of to win West by West, to win the MVP of the finals on a losing team. Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers in Canada won the MVP, and of course they lost. Florida beat them. Florida's got the Stanley Cup. There was some notes about this guy. I mean, he's playing. McDavid joins a list of losing players to win. I got this from local NBC out of South Florida. Screenshot here. And they've given a list of other players. And I want to say the last player to do it was Sebastian Guerrieri from the 2003. That was only 21 years ago. Monty Ducks, Ron Harksville, the Flyers in 87, Reggie Leach, Flyers in 76, Glenn Hall, the Blues in 68, and some guy named Roger Crozer in the 66 Red Wings. So it's a little bit more heard of in the hockey world here. But it did say that this guy was having set a playoff record with 34 assists this postseason, 42 points, ranked fourth best, trailing only 2 playoff runs by, of course, Wayne Gretzky. Don't know hockey, but you know that guy, right, Pickles? That freaking Wayne Gretzky was the Jordan. Every hockey fan I've ever talked to, guys like Gretzky had 47 points in 86 and 43 in 88, and won by Mario Lemieux, 44 and 91. Those were big names. I mean, Gretzky's Jordan. I mean, he's Tiger. He's Brady of the sport, right? And he was playing at a Wayne Gretzky level, and I can appreciate that. And you hear non-hockey people talk. I've heard it in some of my sports shows that I listen to during the day, during my day job, Pickles. And he is, that being said, Herm Edwards, you play to win the game, and writers are always looking for it. It goes back to the 60s in hockey. Given a losing team, given the MVP, if he was that valuable, how come they didn't win the championship? And those are impressive numbers. He got a lot of ratings for hockey because this guy was off the hook, but he couldn't carry them. They got down 0-3. They should have got down 0-3. But I'm a believer. Give it to the team, the winning team. Give it, even if it's a player that's Jaylen Brown wasn't considered the best player on the Celtics, but he got it. He had the best finals. And they won. They won. You know, Andre Iguodala, if you believe it or not, he won. Was it 2015? I think the first one there for Golden State with Steph Curry. Iguodala won it. Believe it or not, folks, Deion Branch won Super Bowl MVP. Brady didn't have 6 Super Bowl MVPs. Deion Branch won it. But they were he had the best game on the winning team. Best game winning team. So I'm just not a fan of that. I've given it to the team, the player on the losing team. Although I know this guy's really fun to watch, you know, and I'm not a hockey guy. Of course, I'm not a hockey guy. But Herm Edwards says you play to win the game. Winners should make the rules. What's that, Pickles? Winners write the history. Winners get the Finals MVP, right? Okay. Football season's coming up, and I tell you, it's a long. Folks, I'm still working on getting some more guests here. I've got about 4 or 5 that I haven't had on here. Scott Monroe, and I'm probably jacking up his last name, out of South Florida Tribune. I'm going to get him on the program. May have to record Scott's interview. I'm going to get him on here. Going to get, trying to get my pastor on, former Tennessee Titan. He was on the practice squad, but he wasn't Titan. Trying to get him and his son on. And there's a few friends off the internet I want to bring back on the program. Got a lot of good stuff coming up here, you know. But as we wait for football season, right? That long wait after the finals, although there's some good NBA stories here. And I'll probably bring Jeffrey Descovich back on, especially if the Knicks do something big. He hadn't reached out to me on Mikal Bridges, but if they get AD, I have to bring him back on, see what he thinks. But there is a story out of Oklahoma. Brent Venables, Oklahoma Sooner here, as the guy 16-10. Now, you know Oklahoma will be in the SEC this year. They're going to play Tennessee. I'm at Nashville, University of Tennessee. They're going to play them. And he's 16-10. Horrible first year. They didn't even make a bowl game the first year there, when they were a playoff level team, when Lincoln Riley bolted for USC. They did beat Texas last year, but they went on to lose. They went on to lose to Kansas, Oklahoma State, and Arizona in the bowl game, which, you know, that's mediocre for Oklahoma football. The guy had 4 years, several years left on his contract. So they extended him 4 years left. They extended him 2 years, gave him $1 million raise. And a lot of that's projected on recruiting and whatnot. I've noticed as of late, teams get really caught up on recruiting. I mean, there's Billy Napier. It's by God's grace he's still the Florida coach, but he's supposed to be having good recruiting classes, right? And they've got a god awful schedule this year. I expect him to be fired at the end of this year. I mean, it's the roughest schedule I've ever seen. But I think, remember, Jim Harbaugh was with the LA Chargers now. Nick Saban recently retired. Brett Venables, former boss, Dabo Swinney, there's rumors he may be gone. At Clemson, he's won 2 national championships, right? And we're at a stage right now where there was a head coach of like Boston College or something. He leaves and takes a coordinator job with the Green Bay Packers. Coaches are running from college football like it's on fire. Oklahoma is not going to be stuck with an assistant if some big hotshot NFL team, because he's a very good defensive mind. I don't think he's head coach material, but this is a very good coordinator somewhere. Somebody they're that scared of somebody hiring this mediocre coach away. They gave him 2 years for nothing, Pickles. You know? But it's the state of college football as we see it. Now, I'm an optimist. I've said the whole time I think that the college game will correct itself. That there is a chance that this players being paid directly by the colleges, like the great Keith Engel said last week on this program, big college football guy. Maybe they could get some kind of guideline. Well, we were talking about it. He agreed that you have to give some of the money back if you do not play the bowl game. You have to give some of the money back if you go and transfer to another program, or you won't get the money if you go to another program. Doing something, and it's like $20 million per school or something, what he was telling me. Keith was telling me. A way to keep these players here, the way to have some kind of structure and deal with this new world of NIL players being played now by the schools and through NIL. But in the meantime, coaches don't know what to do. Schools don't know what to do. You know? This is that old crap time. What we going to do here? Old school coaches don't like the new college football. But Pickles says. And even some of the newer coaches, the younger coaches, are having problems with it. Kirby Smart has really, I met a friend of mine, a lady, I thought she was from Tennessee. She told me she moved here from Savannah, Georgia. I said, Mr. Trabian, why'd you move from Savannah? It's beautiful. That's a nice area of the country down there. You know, I've been to South Carolina. Why would you move there? You know? But anyways, so, Kirby Smart's not a big fan of this stuff. He looks stressed every time I see him. I mean, Kirby Smart from Georgia, 2 national championships. They're in the hunt this year. Texas may be. I'm surprised Texas could win it this year as well. Ohio State is supposed to have some websites have them as preseason number 1 because they've got so much in the transfer portal. Even Urban Meyer's like, man, this may be more talented than my teams. And I'm thinking, well, they're not going to have much to go through because they don't have to deal with Michigan no more. Michigan stripped down, no Harbaugh. But that's the only thing I can think of that stand a guy like Brett Venables off of one really good win in 2 years and some disastrous losses, in my opinion. That was a big one. They beat Texas, who got to a playoff with Quinn Ewers in that group, the Texas team that beat Alabama this year. You know, but Venables is Pickles think it's like a flashback. The boosters in Texas pay more than the schools can afford. Yeah. Yeah, and I tell you what, I saw another high school stadium in Texas the other day, and man, that thing was nice. Man, that looked better than a lot of these college stadiums. It was really, really sharp. I saw it on the internet. So it's I'll talk a little college later, but I think that's a big mistake by Oklahoma. But Oklahoma's trying to save their own rear end, if you know what I mean. Okay. Oh, okay. I've always said that I'm a big fan of Netflix. I have become a big fan of Netflix for many reasons. Number one, Stranger Things, very good show. excellent portrayal of the 80s. Kind of reminds me of watching E.T. But Netflix, they know how to promote a Netflix series, and they know when to release a good series. A couple of years ago, I'm saying this because the Giants are going to be on Hard Knocks, the preseason Hard Knocks. It's going in a different format. The Giants are going to be premiering Hard Knocks a month early, which is genius by Netflix or by HBO. But they got it from Netflix. They got the idea from Netflix. But going back to Netflix here, which is going to be having the Christmas Day games. And I think they do a good job with live events. But July the 4th, about, 3 years ago now? Actually, it was like 5, because the stars got so big from Stranger Things that they couldn't get it. They couldn't get there's so much work going on for the actors and actresses, especially one of the main characters, the young girl with the superpower. She's doing big movies and stuff. The character 11. And they premiered that show on July the 4th one year. 150 degrees outside, Pickles. It was on the 2019, I remember. Season 3. And it broke all their streaming records. I mean, it was it was off the hook. And I said, well, yeah, I worked a half a day that day. Really hot here in Nashville. It's always hot here in Nashville around the 4th. And I watched all 10 episodes. I got home at noon, and that season 3 was so good. It took place in the mall and all that. And I watched all the way at 10 o'clock at night. So I went to bed. I got myself pizza, got home at noon, made my money for the day. Now, I didn't do all that 4th of July stuff. I didn't grow up with that. I ate that pizza and watched just and I was sending my sister text because her and my nephew watch it, Crystal. And great show. Great ratings. But that's what Hard Knocks people saw that, and they said, you know something? We need to take advantage of this real estate here. July needs that. I was just talking about that with the Fever in the WNBA. If they can have a good Angel Reese Clark, Caitlin Clark rivalry going in the middle of July, their NFL, those training camps don't start till around the 23rd. So you got a little bit of NBA free agency there. But baseball, they got their all-star break in 1 week there. You know, baseball's not coming up to an end. Don't get me started there. Congratulations to Tennessee winning a national championship. Their baseball season's over with in college. First ever for Tennessee, by the way. Kavarius Tears. I think he's too big time to come back on the pro. I still love the kid. He's a good guy. Good guy. Good young man. Great mother. Great family. But if college baseball can start their season in February, why can't Major League and have more important games in July? July is this big 31-day open month. And that's when Hard Knocks is going to be. They're going to start July the 2nd, Pickle. So I got to order HBO and watch Hard Knocks. You say, well, why are they putting it on July the 2nd? Because they're going back to the preseason. They're going to go and cover the draft. They've got footage of the preseason, free agency. They drafted Malik Neighbors, who is a butt. They might not be that good this year, but I think they will. I tell Mad New Yorker, he don't like to hear this. But when you write off the Giants completely, they always play over their head. They always do. But they got Malik Neighbors this year, and they got Brian Burns they've added as a pass rusher with Kayvon Thibodeau. They're going to have a good pass rush. They saved a lot of money letting Barkley walk there. They got Jalen Hyatt. Now, Darren Waller retired, but I knew that was going to happen. But so they're going to be starting next week, which is July so I'm going to have to order HBO. I will be watching Hard Knocks. You know, I will be watching your New York Giants. But yeah. So kudos to Hard Knocks and HBO. More Netflix is figuring it out. HBO's figuring it out. Ice Cube hadn't figured it out. Ice Cube, like me, he says, summer's fun, but it's really boring for sports, man. He's got the big three on, you know, during the summertime. Kudos to Tony Vitello, I think is the coach's name. Kavarius Tears, who I'm trying to get some cuts of that interview. I've just been so busy, folks. I've had to it's all for the program, by the way. And yesterday should have been a show on, but it's a clerical error on my part. I went to Jackson the last couple of days because I don't get paid for days that I don't work. We've got a holiday next week. I've had to make it up. All this is going back into advertisement. You'll start to see more advertisement of the Real Sports Scope. I've got to fix my logo. I thought I updated it, but I haven't. I got to update it here on the screen. I see it said the regular Sports Scope. It's called the Real Sports Scope now is the name of the program. And you're going to see more advertisement. You're going to see better guests. So there's a lot these next 18 months. I'm really going full throttle, but you'll see me miss more time, especially during the summer. I'm trying to do it now more and not have to worry about this during the football season because it's going to be crazy once football starts. So, man, but we got 12-team playoff in college, but the NFL season, there's so much going on in the NFL right now. A lot of people talking about Russell Wilson. Is he going to help get that Pittsburgh team over the hump? Got a rough schedule in Pittsburgh. Man, they got a rough schedule down there. And here out of Nashville, everybody's asking me about the Titans. Best receiving core they've had in 20 years. Even Pro Football Focus said they could be a top 5. They ain't played it down yet. We don't know if everybody's saying a breakout player, and I think he probably will. Quarterback here in Tennessee will be a breakout player. And Will Levis, I think he very well could be. And, you know, a lot of these online sites, they criticize a guy one day and they watch SportsScope and they say, well, maybe they have a breakout player the next day, you know? Yeah, Levis here. It's funny how these sites work, Pickles. They say what I think it was Sports Illustrated said, well, they go 2-15. I read that story was it 2 weeks ago? Like Rodney Taylor, get no respect. Well, that's good. You want to be overlooked. Give all the glory to Jacksonville and Houston with C.J. Stroud. If you want to crown their rear ends, like Dennis Green would say. Okay, but big things popping, little things stopping, like the great rapper T.I. said. Like I first said, I started to say late great. No, he ain't dead yet. Knock on wood. These rappers don't live long. But he's okay. Mad New Yorker will be back. Will be here tomorrow. He will be here tomorrow. We're going to break down this Knicks trade. And I'm going to ask him, what does he think about bringing in Jay Wright after a year? He's going to have 4 players under contract, likely. He's going to have 4 his players under contract. Big contributing players, too. 1 MVP candidate, Jalen Brunson. See what he thinks about that. Also, we'll talk about the Vols championship, of course. The draft is tonight. I don't know if there'll be any big moves done, but we'll see. There'll be something done. We don't know. And we'll go over that. I've told him my theory on Caitlin Clark there. Need to get a Gilo Orientima type of coach there with the Indiana Fever. I'll throw all that at him. And I think they've got a Subway Series this weekend, speaking of New York there. So, folks, if you like the show, share the show. Either way, again, I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, here on Sports Scope.